Florida, Mr. Stubbe is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On January 30th of this year, a Cochrane report was released, and it found that for, and I quote, medical or surgical masks, and in a separate analysis for N95P2 respirators, and I quote again, compared with wearing no mask in the community studies only, wearing a mask may have little to no difference in how many people caught a flu-like illness or COVID-like illness. Are you aware of the analysis that I'm referencing?
Congressman, I've heard of a lot of analysis. I know at the end of the day, wearing a mask has helped keep Americans alive.
Well, not according to the Cochrane. The medical and surgical mask analysis reviewed 9 studies in over 276,000 people. The N95P2 analysis reviewed 5 studies in over 8,400 people. But then on March 10th, Cochrane put out a statement noting that their analysis was actually inconclusive and that the exact quote from their analysis that I just read was, quote, misleading, after they had just found all of that based on all those studies. So it's clear that somebody in the administration or somebody somewhere influenced Cochrane's attempt to backtread from their previous findings 3 months prior. So my first question is it true that you had conversations with Cochrane regarding their January findings after their report was released?
If your you refers to me, that's not true.
Okay. Did anyone acting on behalf of HHS contact Cochrane about their January 30 findings after their report?
Best I know, no, but I can try to find out if you'd like.
So would you be willing to give any documents or correspondence that anybody in your agency had with Cochrane between January and March 10th of this year?
We will provide to you whatever documents are disclosable by law.
Okay, I'll put that into a letter. Is it true that someone from HHS or the Biden administration pressured Cochrane to change or back away from their January 30 findings?
I know nothing of that ever happening.
So you're not aware, but you're saying that you're not aware that somebody in the agency may have had conversations with them?
As far as I know of no one in the agency who just engaged in that kind of a conversation.
And your testimony here today is that you'd be willing to provide correspondence between anybody in HHS with Cochrane after January of this year, after the findings?
We are prepared to provide you with whatever documents legally you're eligible to request.
Okay. Has HHS ever contacted social media platforms such as Twitter or Facebook to pressure them to remove statements about COVID-19 that the administration didn't want circulated?
I believe now you're making reference to some lawsuits that sort of make those kinds of allegations, but I can say to you that I'm not aware of anything like that, at least not for me.
So you've not had any conversations with any social media platforms about anything related to COVID and the information that they're putting out to the American public?
Other than perhaps using some of these platforms to put out information.
So you have had conversations with social media platforms as it relates to putting out information?
I have put out information on some of these social media platforms. I have not had conversations with the representatives or the leaderships of these platforms trying to influence them to do one thing or the other.
So your testimony is you put things on platforms, but you have not had conversations with executives or anybody at Twitter or Facebook or otherwise?
Now you're stretching it. Have I ever had conversations?
No, I'm following up on your testimony.
Okay, so the answer is there may have been occasions for me to have conversations with executives from any of those media platforms on any number of subjects.
Did Surgeon General Vivek Murthy participate in meetings with White House officials and social media company officials discussing what information should be hidden from the public?
I suggest you ask Surgeon General.
Are you aware of any conversations that they had?
I know that he has conversations with lots of entities and individuals, but I couldn't specify if in this particular case.
I'm asking if you are aware that he had conversations with those social media platforms.
I am not aware.
Mr. Chairman, I ask unanimous consent to add to the record the Cochrane Library analysis, physical interventions to interrupt or reduce the spread of respiratory viruses, and the Cochrane 3 months later statement on physical interventions to interrupt or reduce the spread of respiratory viruses.